Welcome. I'm Elizabeth D'Orazio, coming to you from the First Baptist Church right here on Main Street in New London. I'm joined by Jim Devere. He's a member here, and he's going to tell us how this community helps him grow in faith and walk in Christ's love every day. Thank you for joining us, Jim.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, Jim, you have a unique story of how you came to your Christian faith. Kind of share with us what brought you to Christ and to this community.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. I came to be a Christian later on in life, and I grew up in a very strict fundamentalist Baptist family and church, and I rebelled and rejected it. I thought it was being shoved down my throat, and I grew up into what I would categorize as basically a rotten kid through my life. I didn't do well in school. I got into all sorts of problems. I drank heavily in high school, and I was very angry at God. Got expelled from high school, and my parents deserved a lot better. I ended up going on a drinking spree in the summer after being expelled my senior year. Got into a terrible car accident, and it probably was a miracle that I lived. Mother and father got me into college. I got religion, sort of a foxhole conversion, but it didn't last very long until I started learning, being enlightened by the philosophy and evolution and all the things in college. So I went back to basically square one. But a nice thing happened during that time. I met a wonderful woman, and we ended up getting married with 2 children. And I was still very angry at God. I ended up getting my degree in chemistry nights and worked for a very large pharmaceutical outfit. And in my anger, I decided I would try to use my scientific background to disprove God. And there was a fellow in the pharmaceutical outfit that had been world-renowned in peptide and protein synthesis, so I wanted to work for him to be able to create life in the laboratory to kind of dispel all this foolishness that I was exposed to in Maine. But when I talked to him, he just smiled and he said, "You'll never find that out because the chemistry is too complicated. Even to form a simple peptide, which is a mini protein, we're having trouble in a laboratory condition." So
Sure.
Makes sense that it's not going to happen out in the environment. Further than that, I looked a little bit into more, thought about a cell. And a cell has to have a wall and thousands of chemicals, some of them quite complex, as DNA and RNA. And I figured to make a cell, you'd have to have the wall, all these substances would have to be synthesized and they'd have to come together. And I decided we're never going to have science prove there isn't a God or create life. Changed my career to become a pharmaceutical rep.
Okay.
And while I was staying in a hotel, I met up with a fellow that had a degree in religion and philosophy, and he had this little booklet called The 4 Spiritual Laws.
Oh.
So he said, let's go have a beer, and I wouldn't refuse that because I was a heavy drinker, probably an alcoholic. And I thought maybe this is a worthwhile challenge for me because I tried to destroy people's faith. And he dispelled everything. He started reading the 4 Spiritual Laws, which is a basic summation of God's love for you, your separation by sin, and the problem is solved through Christ. And I ordinarily wouldn't have listened to that, but something told me to listen. And I did. As he read through it, as I got through just about to the end, all of a sudden something weird happened. And it was like a bright light came on, and all of a sudden all the stuff that I battled against, I believed, and became a Christian. And I didn't even finish my beer, so something happened.
Right.
Went up to my room and read the Bible and got on my knees and prayed and became a Christian. My life changed.
It's interesting because so many people today seem to use science as a reason for disproving God, and it seems that that's where you found him.
That's right.
And people like you right here in this community, I bet if someone wanted to speak to you, you could, perhaps help them answer their own questions.
I would hope so. And I've spoke about evolution and science quite a bit in churches.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And remember, we all walk different paths, and many of them lead right here to the First Baptist Church on Main Street in New London. What a wonderful couple of weeks we've had here. If you're looking for a faith community that truly practices the teachings of Jesus Christ, please considering giving them a visit. They would love to have you. Tune into our football game of the week Friday night at 6:22 p.m. as our Kearsarge Cougars entertain Interlakes. All of our games are replayed on WYCX Sunday and Monday at noon and 5 p.m. and anytime on demand at ycnnow.com. Tune in again next time at this same time for the who, what, where, when, and how of Yankee Chronicle. Till then, stay safe, everyone.